welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be taking you to the range and we're going to have a look around their art department, and I'm going to then show you a little haul of everything that I bought whilst I was in the store. So let's go shopping. So at my local The Range store, the art department's all the way in the back and it can seem a little bit dark down there. If you haven't been to a Range before, it's kind of like a big box store. So I know a lot of you that watch my videos are from the US, and it's similar, I would say, to maybe one of your big box stores over there. So the first aisle that you come to in the art department is full of marker pens and inks. They've got a really good range of these Winsor and Newton inks, these drawing inks, and they're $2.99 each. They've got a good range of colours. The way they're displayed isn't all that great at the Range. It's a bit sort of messy and doesn't look all that professional. They've also got some calligraphy inks for $3.99, and again, really good colours. They're not that well stocked though, so if you are going there particularly for these items, just bear in mind they might not have what you want. They've also got some fine liners that you can buy individually, and then these watercolour and acrylic inks. And both sets come with 6 in total, and they are both £25 each. And then here I found these really cheap dual tip art marker pens, and they're only $3.99 for a pack of 12, which I thought was an absolute bargain. I've tried cheap ones before from Tiger, however if you're in the Range these could be a good option. You can also buy pro markers and pencils individually in the Range, and they have some really good beginner sets for getting into art here. I would say that's what they really specialise in their art department, is beginner and hobbyist materials. So this is a really good place to go and check out what you can get for just starting out as an artist, or if you're a student. It's also a really good place to go if you need some art materials in a pinch. So some really good little art sets there that could be good little gifts as well for people. Next up along that same aisle is then their sketchbooks, and they have got a really good range of sketchbooks for different mediums. So they've got a really good range of sketchbooks for watercolour, and they have lots of different sizes of sketchbooks in the store, and they all seem fairly reasonable in price. This particular one was £14 for 12 sheets. And this next Winsor and Newton one was only $8.99 for 12 sheets. But I wasn't so keen on this because it's on a ring bound, and I'm not really too keen on ring bound sketchbooks. I don't know about you, but I prefer a hardbound sketchbook rather than a spiral bound. They also have this pro marker sketchbook, which I was quite intrigued by. I do need a pad for my pro markers or for my alcohol markers because they do bleed through my sketchbook. So these ones are bleed proof, and it's only $4.99. They do have some really budget sketchbooks as well, so you can pick yourself up an A4 sketchbook for $1.99. I then quite liked the look of these mixed media boards and this mixed media sketchbook. However, I was put off because it was on a ring bound. So I really don't enjoy using ring bound sketchbooks. They also have these tear off palettes, which are pretty useful. I decided that this was the watercolour palette that seemed most appropriate for me. It's not on a ring bound, there are 12 sheets in it. It's a decent price of $9.99, and the paper quality was quite nice. So pop that one in my trolley. Then along the next aisle is the paints and the canvases. The paints that you're going to find on this aisle are all really good for beginners and for students. These Daler Rowney acrylic paints are ones that I have bought for my students at school, and they come in a pack of 12 and they're £5 each. However, they don't really rate them all that highly because they say that the paints peel off or they just don't go down as nicely as other paints we've tried at school before. Then they also have these tubes of quite cheap acrylic paints. They're £2.95 for a pretty decent size of paint, and they've got a really good range of different colours there. So I would say that the range is perfect for all of these different little art sets. The watercolours here, the Winsor & Newton ones, are a pretty good price, but you might be able to pick them up on Amazon slightly cheaper. And they've also got things to try out, like the acrylic fluid art set in the range as well, so I wouldn't mind giving that a go. All of these paints along here seem pretty decent in price, and I would definitely recommend going just for a student. They've got some foam boards and then canvas for your larger pieces of artwork. They've got a good variety of canvases, however they didn't have one that I was looking for. I'm looking for quite a deep canvas for a painting that I've got in mind, and I've looked on Jackson Art and I've seen that you can customize and make your own canvases on there, so I might give that a go. But if you have another website, let me know in the comments so I can check that one out as well. Then on the opposite side is where they store all of their paintbrushes, and they have sets of paintbrushes here as well as individual paintbrushes, and they also have some novelty brushes as well. Each of the paintbrushes that they have here are either synthetic or natural hair brushes, and they also cater for all of the different mediums, so you can find paintbrushes here for watercolour, acrylics, gouache, and also oil paints, so it's very versatile in this section of the store. All of these packs of paintbrushes as well seem to be really good prices. The larger sets seem to be about £10, and then these smaller sets roughly £5 to £7. So I thought that they had a very good selection of paintbrushes. And then if you are looking for a particular paintbrush, you can then look through their individual ones. They range from £3.50 to £5.95. And again, natural or synthetic hairs, and they have a good variety of them in stock. Then moving along, they have all of their storage for paintbrushes, along with some more paintbrush sets from different brands like De La Rowney, and also sponges and palettes and palette knives. So along this section you can find everything that you would need to get started with painting, and particularly if you are a hobbyist or a student, this section here would be absolutely perfect for you. Next up, I went into their pencil section, and they have got these Derwent Inktense pencils, which I'm really curious to try out. I think that they're a really good price at $18.99, so I wouldn't mind trying those out in the future. If you've tried them, let me know how they are, or if you want to see me use them and buy them, let me know. This set was only $9.99 for 36 pencils, which I thought was an absolute bargain, and the one next to it was absolutely enormous with 45 pencils. You can also get more alcohol markers along here to use with the adult colouring books that they have in this section. So really good range of pencils and felt tips. They didn't have any what I would call professional colouring pencils. They were all more sort of for the hobbyist. And then onto the more expensive, better quality acrylics and painting mediums. They do have the Winsor & Newton Galleria range in their store, and you can buy different sizes of the paints, and they have a good amount of different colours in store. They've got their gessos there, which are a pretty decent price. I think they were about £8. I was just filming this on my phone, and it's the first time I filmed in a shop. If you have enjoyed this, do let me know so I can do some more. I did get some funny looks though. And then they also have the Winsor & Newton acrylic mediums, and this is something that I was really intrigued to check out because I want to try out some different acrylic mediums within my painting, especially for creating a nice impasto style. So I was really looking for something here that I wanted to try out. And then they also have their glazing mediums. They have some UV glazing mediums. I found it quite funny that a lot of these art mediums were so dusty. So they must have been sitting here for such a long time with nobody really wanting to go and buy them. But they were around £6.99 for the smaller ones and £10 for the larger bottles of each of these mediums. They also have the pro markers here, but as you can see, people do tend to test those out in stores, so I think I'd purchase those elsewhere so that they're not dry. And then their watercolours, they really didn't have much in stock in their watercolours at all. And they also do hold a selection of watercolour mediums, so they've got some masking fluids and some gum arabic and lots of other different mediums for your watercolours. But the stock of actual watercolours was quite poor. They do hold also the Winsor and Newton oil paints, and again they have a really good selection of colours. They also then stock all of the different oils and mediums that you can purchase from the Winsor and Newton oil range. And they also do have a selection of paintbrushes which are a higher quality, but just like those watercolours, they did not have many in stock. I bought this Winsor and Newton watercolour pad. It's absolutely perfect for beginners or anyone that's a student or just a leisure watercolour painter. It's perfect for learning your skills on. So it's 300 GSM, cold pressed paper. It's got a really nice light texture. It's not too textured, but it has got a very nice light texture to it. It's got a very nice organic texture to it, unlike some of the other cheaper watercolour papers that I have bought in the past, which have been very regular in terms of the actual texture on the paper. This has got a more of an organic texture. It's not as smooth as the hot press paper that I've got, that Paul Rubens one that I purchased as part of my Amazon haul. I'll link that if you haven't seen that video. This paper I have used already. I used it in my video from last week, so if you haven't seen that one, go and check that one out and you get an idea of the quality of that paper in that video. But I really enjoyed this. There are 12 sheets of paper within the pad, so for £9.99 and the size of it, I thought that was a pretty good deal because I can easily cut down that paper if I want to, or I can use it on that large scale if I want to do a bigger painting. So I'm really excited to use that a little bit more. I've got a few paintings that I want to create, and working on a slightly larger scale like this will enable me to create those. I also got these kids Aquaflow watercolour paintbrushes. They're the type where you put the water within the tube and then you can just paint. So I thought I would give these ones a go. I've not tried them before. They were £3.99. I will be trying them in a future video, so if you're interested to see how these ones are compared to a regular paintbrush, then make sure you subscribe. So £3.99, they've got lots of really low budget art supplies in the range, as well as some higher end stuff. So if you're looking for beginner products, then the range is perfect for that. So 3 little paintbrushes in this pack. I think they'll be good for gripping, especially if you've got like motor skill problems or anything like that. If you need something a bit thicker to grip onto, these ones would be really good for that. Or if you're painting on location and you just want to take a little bit of water and a paintbrush, these would be good for that as well. The next item that I picked up is this paintbrush set. There are 12 paintbrushes in the pack and they are long-handled paintbrushes. So I wanted to get some longer paintbrushes just because I want to do some paintings on a larger canvas, and I thought these ones would be better for it. And also there's a few larger paintbrushes within this pack, so I can use those for my bigger paintings. This pack cost £9.99 and it is the brand Royal and Langnickel. They're synthetic hair brushes and there are 2 round brushes in the pack, and then the rest of these are all flat paint brushes. They range from a size 2 all the way up to a size 20, and I just thought this would be a good little pack to try out some paint brushes from the range. Some of them are quite hefty, so they're quite thick paint brushes around here for gripping, and I think they'll be quite comfortable to hold and use. So I'm looking forward to giving these a go once I eventually get that larger canvas, like I said in the shopping part of the video. I will then be able to use these paint brushes, and again I will be testing these out to see how they are, and I can let you know in a future video on the quality of these paintbrushes. I then got one more set of paintbrushes, and this one is quite gimmicky, but I was kind of drawn to it just because of the colours, and I was suckered in basically. So I picked up these, they're kind of like unicorn or mermaid brushes. They're iridescent on the handle of the paintbrush, and then each of the bristles is a different colour. So when I show you in a moment what they look like, you'll be able to see that each of those bristles has got a slight different colour, which it does make them look a little bit dirty because they are all multicoloured. But I was suckered into these paintbrushes. They're by the brand Art Studio, which by looking at the packaging on the back, it sounds as though they are made specifically for the range. So they have got this budget brand of art materials in there, which I didn't really spot all that well whilst I was shopping in the range. But they do have these. So these were £3.99 for a pack of 10, and there's a range of flat brushes, angled brushes, and also there is a fan brush within this set, and I will give these a go just out of curiosity to see what they're actually like. I can imagine young children would really like these paintbrushes because they are really colourful and they're quite playful, given the fact that they do look like a unicorn horn. So I was suckered in with these ones, and I just picked them up and put them in my basket because I thought they looked quite fun. But to be honest, I don't know how good of quality they will actually be, but I will give them a go. The next item that I got is this Winsor Newton acrylic medium. So this is a heavy structured gel which will create more body to my acrylic paints. So I'm looking for some real texture to come through in some of my future paintings that I've got planned. So this is the perfect product for that. So it creates an impasto structure to your acrylic paints. It cost me £7.99 and it is a 250ml bottle. It's just got a little cap on here, so you can easily just dispense however much of this you want to be using in your paints. So I like how you can use this with a palette knife or a paintbrush, and I do really like the effect of the impasto style. So I'm really looking forward to painting with this in my future videos. If you are interested to see this heavy structured gel, make sure you subscribe because I will be painting a larger painting with this in the future. So really looking forward to that one. And they did have a few other acrylic mediums within the range when I went shopping. However, this is the one that I chose in that particular shopping trip. If you have any other suggestions on different acrylic mediums that you think I should try out, let me know in the comments, and then I will look into getting those ones and testing those out for you. And then lastly, on my shopping trip, as part of my mini haul, I picked up a Winsor & Newton glazing medium. So this will be good for applying over the top of my paintings. It is transparent. It's also a nice gloss finish. It's kind of a medium dry time and it's fluid, so it's not a thick medium at all. So I thought that this was a really good product just to seal my acrylic paints with once I have finished them, if I want a gloss or a glazed finish to my canvas. So I picked up a 125ml bottle of this, and for this size in the range it cost me £6.99. So I thought that it wasn't too bad a price. I did end up buying a few bits and bobs from the range. I would have liked to have tried a few other products, but I couldn't really see anything that was really taking my fancy. I think I will do another shopping trip to the range in a few weeks' time. So if you saw anything whilst I was shopping in there that you would like me to try out, do let me know in the comments and I may purchase those items just to try out. So I do think that the range offers a good amount of art materials and mediums. You can find from beginner to student and then to some professional quality paints. They don't have a huge amount of professional quality artist materials in the range. However, they do cater for the hobbyist really well, and I would highly suggest going around and just choosing a few items that you like the look of to practice with and experiment with, and just to hone your skills. It might be that you can find these products cheaper on Amazon or some other art websites. However, because the range was open, I really fancied having a look around, and I did enjoy just going out and seeing what I could buy. Because in the UK I haven't managed to go to any shops in such a long time. I went really late in the evening, about 45 minutes before they closed, so it was really quiet in store. I didn't have to worry about there being lots of people around, and I could just take a nice leisurely browse at all of their products. So there you go guys, that was my trip out to the range and my mini haul from that shopping trip. Give it a thumbs up if you have enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what products you think I should try and buy next, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.